Today, we are diving into something that's happening right above our heads, but it's almost completely invisible. We're talking about the digital war for our skies. And trust me, this isn't just an IT problem. It affects the very core of how we travel the globe.
Just take a second to really picture that. This isn't a line from some summer blockbuster. No, this is a very real warning about a threat that shifted from a what if to a when, not if situation.
And how real are we talking? Well, this number, it says it all. 600%. That is the year-over-year jump in ransomware attacks specifically targeting the aviation world. As our world gets more connected, it also creates juicier targets for bad actors. The threat isn't just at the door anymore, it's practically kicking it in.
What's wild is that just a short while ago, this was kind of on the back burner, Just another line item in a security budget. But over the last year, it has absolutely exploded into a full-blown crisis. The events of 2025 completely changed the game and showed us just how fragile these systems we rely on really are. Okay, so let's get into the weeds here. To really get what this fight is about, we first have to understand just how big this siege is, and, more importantly, how the attackers are breaking through the defenses.
So, how are they doing it? What's really surprising here is that it's not always some super complex Hollywood-style hack. A massive 71% of these attacks boil down to good old-fashioned credential theft, basically tricking an employee into giving up their password. The goal isn't to blast through the wall, it's to get the key and walk right in the front door. The other big one is a DDoS attack, which is like creating a digital traffic jam so massive that the whole system just grinds to a halt.
And the fallout from these attacks? It's just staggering. We are talking about $1 million for every single hour that a major airport is down. And when a huge airline like Delta gets hit, the numbers are just astronomical. They reported a loss of around $550 million from one incident. This is way more than an inconvenience. It's basically an economic weapon.
So, we've covered the what and the why. Now let's get personal. Let's zoom in on the who and the how by breaking down some of the biggest attacks from what's being called the 2025 Blitz.
Every good story needs a villain, right? Well, in this one, a group that calls itself Scattered Spider has really taken center stage. And these aren't your typical hackers. They are masters of manipulation using really clever social engineering and, get this, even AI-powered deepfake voices to trick their way right into the most secure networks.
And their campaign was an absolute whirlwind. I mean, look at this timeline. It kicks off in June 2025 with WestJet. Then, just a month later, bam, they hit Hawaiian Airlines and Qantas. That Qantas breach alone exposed the private data of nearly 6 million people. It all happened so fast and hit so hard that by October, the FBI had to put out a formal warning to the entire industry about this one specific group. But it wasn't just about going after airlines directly. No, maybe the most chilling event of the year showed how one tiny, weak link in the supply chain could set off a domino effect, a chain reaction of failures that paralyzed airports all across Europe.
Let's just walk through this chaos step by step. So first, ransomware hits a popular check-in software called Muse. It's run by an outside company, Collins Aerospace. Instantly, the automated check-in systems go dark at huge hubs like London Heathrow. This throws the staff back into the Stone Age, literally handwriting boarding passes. Can you imagine the chaos? The result was hours-long queues, total gridlock, and tons of flights just canceled.
So all these attacks, they really bring up a critical question. Why? Why is the whole system so vulnerable to begin with? Well, it turns out the weaknesses are actually baked deep into the industry's DNA. It pretty much boils down to two main problems. First, the industry relies way too much on just a few key companies. Remember that Collins Aerospace software? It's used by over 150 airports. So if you hack that one system, you threaten all of them. It's a massive single point of failure. And second, and this one is maybe even scarier, is the old, outdated infrastructure, especially when it comes to air traffic control. This comparison is it's jaw-dropping. On the right, you've got a modern IT network with all these layers of security. And on the left, that's what a lot of our vital air traffic control systems look like. The communications are often totally unencrypted, sent in the clear. That's like sending your bank password on a postcard. It makes them so vulnerable to being intercepted or even faked.
And this isn't just a theoretical problem. We've seen an estimated 500% increase in GPS jamming and spoofing activity.
Now that means attackers are either just blocking GPS signals or, and this is much more dangerous, they're sending fake signals to try and trick a plane's navigation. And it's happening a lot more often.
Okay, so it all sounds pretty bleak, I know. But the industry isn't just sitting back and taking it. Faced with this huge threat, there's a massive, coordinated race happening right now to build a digital shield. Let's take a look at how they're fighting back.
And you know what they say? Money talks. The industry is putting its money where its mouth is. We're seeing investment in aviation cybersecurity just skyrocket. It's projected to grow by more than 50%, hitting nearly $16 billion by 2032. And that money is going into everything from smarter threat detection to completely ripping out and replacing those old systems.
And this isn't a single-pronged attack. The defense is happening on multiple fronts. Europe is bringing in tough new regulations. Here in the US, the FAA is shifting to what's called a zero-trust model. Basically, you assume a hacker is already inside your network, so every single action, every user, has to be verified constantly. And globally, everybody's finally getting on the same page, with nearly 3/4 of airports saying, okay, this is our top priority now.
But here's the thing you have to remember. This is a technological arms race. For every high wall the industry builds, the attackers are already designing a more sophisticated ladder. The battle for 2026 and beyond is already being defined by the next wave of threats.
And here's a little peek at what's keeping security experts up at night. First, AI-powered attacks that can learn and adapt all on their own, finding weak spots faster than any human team ever could. Then there's deepfake voice phishing, or vishing. We already saw a taste of this with Scattered Spider. The use of AI-cloned voices to impersonate pilots or ground staff is just exploding. And way out there, on the horizon, is the big one, quantum computing, which could one day be powerful enough to break all the encryption we use to protect, well, everything. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that securing our skies has totally changed. It's not just about reinforced cockpit doors and scanning bags anymore. It's now this constant, high-stakes technology race against an enemy you literally cannot see.
Which, of course, leaves us with one final and really critical question. The industry is sprinting to catch up, but the threats are evolving even faster. So I'll just leave you with this thought. As we all go about our lives, are we really, truly prepared for this invisible war happening right over our heads?